I'm Emily.
I'm Eric.
And welcome back to You Should Thank Me, a podcast about a married couple living in their 40s in Ontario with their 2 dogs and, of course, lots of stories and thoughts to share.
Today on March 16th, 2025, we'll be talking about turning 40 and a couple other little topics as well, seeing where we'll go with it. But that's the big topic today is turning 40.
Mm-hmm. I hit 40 first.
Yeah, well, it's not a race, all right?
I know, because you would be losing.
You're going to hit 50 first too, but let's not talk about that
yet. Okay, well, but yes, I did turn 40 in January.
Yep.
January 3rd.
Oh, yeah, I turned 40 in an undisclosed date after January 3rd. In February, yes. Yeah. But turning 40, I was thinking about this. Nothing really happened when I turned 40. It was the years before 40 that I was noticing that my opinion didn't matter as much. And that was, I think, like the first moment I noticed something was on it was we went to a local bar. It's closed now. And there was a bunch of, older gents, not so much older, playing classic rock. And they played Blink-182, What's My Age Again? And I was just like, oh, this is classic rock now. And I remember growing up thinking, okay, well, Led Zeppelin or, that's classic rock. Even, I wouldn't say Nirvana is classic rock, that's alternative. But you know what I mean? Like, that was like the older people's music.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm like, okay, well, the things I like are no longer contemporary.
Yeah.
I am now old, and Blink-182, the first CD actually I ever owned, Enema of the State, compact disc for you younger folk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that was the first thing that something was.
I feel like for me, that's kind of when I think of like fashion, when the fashion cycle has come back and what was used to be cool for us 20 years is now come back. That's my yours is music for the realization of like that cycle, but I think for me it's like fashion, where of course right now I can't think of like one of those things.
Yeah.
Fashion, like flare jeans, like I know that was also obviously popular in the 70s, but
I disagree because I went out the other day with my tearaway pants and no surrender hat, and no one thought anything of it. I didn't feel any cooler. I also had my Echo Limited red extra large shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I guess that was never cool. But when Tommy Hilfiger comes back, I'm ready.
I would love tearaways. I remember wearing tearaways in grade 7 gym. I felt so cool. Adidas, navy blue, obviously with the white stripes.
Tearaways actually are kind of underrated. I will say, though, a couple things about tearaways. It's like if you fell on your side, they would rip up your leg. Mm. And, not TMI, but TMI. I once ripped open my kneecap. And if it wasn't for the tearaways, I would have lost my pants that day because I could just tear away my thing and stitch up my knee. So I will say, pros and cons. Tearaways, don't fall on them, but you can have surgery.
But if you do fall, they're easy to.
Yes, yeah, very, very, yeah. But yeah, turning 40, so fashion, music, obviously, and it's funny because I feel bad because there are people that are listening to this that are older than us, but like I do crack a lot more than I used to in the sense that like I move, crack.
Mm-hmm.
I sneeze, hurt. That started relatively healthy in the sense that like I've never broken bones and stuff like that, and but for some reason, man, like in the last couple of years, I had to get like things for my desk to the ergonomic stuff because I could just feel like it's almost like just scraping against bone. It just like feels like I'm, I don't know, like I feel like a firecracker sometimes. Like I just moving.
Yeah, I know. I definitely feel like when I was in my 20s and maybe even more in my 30s that I never really like thought about my body.
Yeah,
it just worked.
Yeah,
but now it's like you're actually like consciously aware of like, once again, oh, my back hurts or like whatever. I feel like normally for me it's probably like my lower back. Thanks, Dad. Shout out to my dad. I feel like for that.
But maybe in the back when you were
No,
going?
he has. I feel like he has has
Bad
maybe
back.
some back issues. Potentially one of my sisters as well. But then with my knee surgery, genetically that could be my mom. But no, even my going back to you've had no broken bones. Obviously, I've had a couple surgeries, and one of the surgeries was on my knee. But funny enough, I was just telling one of my friends tests that my right knee actually seems stronger. So, which is a great sign. Honestly, it did what it was supposed to do. But
Honestly, that's a good idea when you turn 40 is to like do a chart of your body of what is good and bad. Like, okay, that was my left toe.
what in 10 years measured now.
Yeah, yeah.
Sad about how much you decline.
Well, you could just be like, okay, well, I gotta get this checked out. I'm 40 now. I'm allowed to go to my doctor and say, hey, I need my, whatever looked. I need my elbow looked at. I believe it's not tennis yet, but it's a badminton elbow. It's getting bad.
Yeah.
Another thing that I find being weird about 40 is talking to young people. I think this is a thing with everybody though, because my parents,
every generation
doesn't know what the next one is, but like I feel like I'm 2 generations away from understanding stuff. Because like the generation before was like SpongeBob SquarePants and let's have a house party, but we were kind of house party people, like in I guess every generation was, but like they were like let's have Project X house parties, like crazy stuff. That's fine, but the newer ones are like I'm bussing frou
chewy.
No cap.
Yeah.
And
language. I think that is another thing is the music, clothing, and the language. Eventually you just like outgrow it. And for me, at least, it's not worth trying to learn it.
Yeah. I feel bad because I do think music nowadays, like there are a couple people I like. I might as well just say episode 2. I like Taylor Swift. I would say that she's for the younger folk as much as us. But like when I hear stuff from like I don't know, like trap music or whatever, and oh man, I feel like I'm aging myself because I do think trap has been around for longer than 10 years. But like, Billie Eilish, for example, I don't understand, even though it's kind of catchy, but like I don't understand the new music. I don't understand the new music. I just like, I do feel like, I guess what I'm getting around to is like, I don't think new music is good. And I'm gonna plant the flag there, and I hope people. Honestly, if someone wanted to prove me wrong or just like send something and it's listenable, like I'll give it a shot. Like I'm not like I'll never listen to this because I have listened to things and I'm just like I don't get it.
I feel like I've heard from multiple friends and us through conversations that you just kind of like whatever music you grew up with, you just also never grow out of it.
Yeah.
Like you just always sort of stuck in that like time period.
Yeah, I think
I don't really listen to new music either. But I'm also part of my excuse for that is that I'm not actually like in places where I can listen to new music in the sense of like I work from home full time, so I'm not driving in the car a lot. Like, yes, I walk the dogs, so I could listen to new music, but I'm not really listening to podcasts. So there's also not really like the time. I don't know. Like, I just don't really. I'm not saying I don't have the time.
Yeah.
But there's just like not the location that is like a fit for it, and I'm just not really that interested in it. If I'm gonna listen to music, it's gonna be country.
I also think like the times have changed because like you do have options to listen to music, but we choose to listen to podcasts or YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's not options. I'm just saying that.
But if those things weren't there, I think we'd still listen to music, and I think we'd listen to newer music. I just think like because you have more options and it spawns out, like I think that's why. I honestly think that the people that were our age in the 90s didn't have the options like we do now, and I think they would listen to newer music. And I certainly could be strawmanning this, but like I do think people at earlier days would listen to more music, even if it wasn't their generation, just because of the lack of other options. But I also think you're right that you stay with your music unless you're like an audiophile of some sort, like you just like to listen to new stuff. But yeah, I see your point. But yeah,
I think Lady Gaga just released a new album.
I never. Oh yeah.
I think I don't know.
What do you think? Have you heard anything?
No.
No, it's not like a new song about blackjack this time, opposed to Poker Face.
Yeah.
I can't even think of what else she does. She kind of like, that Joker 2 did not go well, I don't think. Because she was in Joker 2, and it was like kind of a music.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just thinking of like what she's been into. That, and she was the Shining Star or whatever with Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Like she walked away from music for a while, and was like, she kind of killed it in that Bradley Cooper movie. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so those are some bad things, I think. What are good things about being 40? Staying up as late as you want.
I feel like I had a great 40th birthday celebration. I feel like I had a great time during the day, like with my family, and then at night was a little more like, party hardy at a local brewery. So yeah, it was a great, I feel like it was a great way to not only kick off basically the new year, but my 40th. And yeah,
it was fun.
It was great. It was such a nice, and people kind of coming from far and wide, family and friends were sort of spread over all Ontario. And yeah, it was just, and I don't really have a lot of like deep feelings about turning 40. Like I feel like I have heard friends say that, on the day they turn 40, they're going to cry and like all this stuff. But like, I'm just like, I'm pretty healthy, and I'm obviously like happy, and, same with my family and my friends, and it's just, kind of is what it is. Like, it doesn't really, I don't know if that's good or bad, but.
Well, yeah, you had a really fun 40s for sure. It was an event because, we kind of split it off to like a party as well as like a family thing, and there's some family photos shared, and a lot of people came that, we obviously have some friends local, but like a lot of our friends are spread all over the place, and they have to make a drive. So it was a really good time for sure.
And then even before that too, we went to like a little like cottage nearby, on the Thursday, and did like a little outdoor.
That was fun.
Spa.
Yeah, it was like a spa right in the middle of winter and snowing. It was like that, like really like picturesque snow. And we had a little fire, and then we watched the World Junior Canadian team lose, which, didn't send me into a frenzy at all. Not like, I care about 17-year-old hockey players or anything. But yeah, like, that was a really fun time. Yeah, yours was like, now that you kind of put it in a collection, you had a fun 40th for sure.
And that the one of the fun things too to add to that is that the dogs were at 2 of those 3 events. The dogs were able to come to the cabin, and they were able to come to the brewery. They weren't at the daytime festivities with my family, but
they were good though.
And they were, so it's always nice to not only shout them out, but that they.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Duke for holding it down, and shout out Lily for being a freak. You're right. I didn't even think about how they were 2 and 3. They could have been 3 or 3 if we didn't go to like such a nice venue for your family.
That's true.
But
it's beautiful.
Yeah. My 40th, I'm not a very big birthday guy. Believe it or not. I just like to very low key, but I will say, like, I got some like. I don't even have the words to think about how top tier the gifts I got. I had the Ali got a song made for us, for me and the birthday and stuff and the dogs, and it was on, I think, Finch. Yes. Yeah. And that was really cool and fun, and it's really thoughtful. But we listened to it, and I got on my little Spotify, and I listened to it from time to time. But the real piece of resistance was she went, because of our wedding, we had a bunch of email addresses, and she went and reached out to people on them and just said, "Hey, can you give like a little blurb about Eric's 40th and like a story?" And I obviously was not expecting this at all. So as soon as we sat down, I didn't know what it was, because like I thought it was like
I sent you upstairs.
I was really. I think I guessed something so off. I was, "Oh, you're gonna get me basketball cards. I said
A
something.
treadmill. I think
A
I thought I got you a treadmill.
Well,
You already have one's enough.
bit of a fat butt. Anyways,
Stop.
so what ends up happening is she sits me down and I see like the screen and I thought it was there's an artist B.A. Johnson. I once got her like a Valentine's Day song made by him and it was ridiculous. I thought she did the same for me
During COVID, yeah.
and then it ends up it's like my mom shows up in the thing and I was like, oh my god, and it was like 30 minutes of these like just everyone in my life like saying these sweet stories and I could barely hold it. I didn't hold it together. It was like the best gift I've had. I can't even think of. Yeah, it's interesting because I think about like my mind wants to compare like I had a gift like this. I have like these memories of like stuff my grandpa would give me like skates, but like this is like the gift. And I have it on my computer and I look at it from time to time. But like there was just random people like Adam Barber who you've never met, and him being like, "Oh, the Bills are playing today," and like just like, "Hey man, miss ya." And it was a great gift. So I really, my 40th, I wasn't even really, I wasn't looking too forward. Yeah, I was pretty like meh. It wasn't even about the birthday. It was just at the time because it's the middle of winter. It's not like hee ha ha times. I think if I was born in the summer, I'd be a lot more happy about my birthday. But that really made it. It was like a really, really. I don't think I've had a more thoughtful gift ever. It just was the best gift, and it made that birthday like so good. So.
Well, that was kind of my thought behind it. Was I knew you didn't want to necessarily go anywhere, and that you wanted it to be low key. So my thought was that, well, if you don't want to go anywhere, I'll bring people to you.
Yeah.
And it's nice because then you can look back on it and you can watch it or listen to it, and it really, I don't know, maybe you want one for your 50th too. I don't know.
Yeah, my head. All I could think of is like
another decade.
Well, we'll see. In my head, I'm just like, man, I could never give you as good as a gift. It's just like so like thoughtful, and I'm like, man, my gifts suck. But
you do things literally every single day for me, so that I barely have to lift a finger.
Yeah.
So I really do think, and it's not a competition, but in a way it like kind of evens out because once again, you do so much for me without even thinking about it. You put me first like every day. So this is just a small thing that I was able to do to show you two that I obviously love you and appreciate you. But funny enough, I feel like at the end of it too, you said, well, but you didn't do one. So I actually never ended up doing a birthday from me, which is kind of funny. Like, it's just more funny where I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I probably should have maybe like had one in there. So you have one from your wife.
It's funny because I showed it to a couple of friends of mine, and a few of them hadn't done anything or weren't aware of it just because they never look at their email, right? You have to look at your email. And they actually felt really bad, and I was like, no. I'm like, don't feel bad. I'm like, I'm just happy I get to talk to you on my 4th. It just like really like just. It kind of reinvigorated me to kind of reach out to people. So it was it was a really positive thing, and I never thought about the people who didn't do it. I was just really happy that people did do it, and it was like 30 minutes. And in my head, I'm like, I don't have enough friends that have 30 minutes, but evidently I do.
Yeah.
And I found out too. I was with the hot uncle. My niece said all her friends think I'm a hot uncle, and I was like, that's so sweet.
That was one of the key takeaways.
Yeah, and I will say, positive thing. I can only, if I'm 40 and I'm a hot uncle, that's a positive thing about being 40.
Is that a win?
Yeah, because I think like if I'm like 32, I'm not a hot uncle. I'm just a guy. I'm uncle. But either way, I don't really want to go too deep in it. I'm just saying that was a good 40th hot uncle, doing good. Can't complain. Yeah.
All right. Well. So, speaking of stories, I actually found a Reddit story that I thought was kind of funny because it talked about somebody's 40th birthday. I don't know if this story is like kind of long.
Oh my god!
But it's okay. I'm gonna read it pretty quickly and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're not interested, obviously just kind of like skip ahead because it's just.
Well, don't skip ahead. Because this is the stuff that you want to hear. This is the meat and potatoes. If you skip ahead, I'm going to know.
Okay. All right, so this is obviously a Reddit story. And the title of the story is, Am I the asshole for reclaiming my 40th birthday after my husband chose the Super Bowl over me?
Yeah.
All right, end of story.
Yeah, I'm just starting.
My 40th birthday is this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Obviously, this is about a month old. All I wanted was a quiet, romantic weekend with my husband. I'm an event planner, so I like to plan things in advance. I can relate to that. I told him weeks ago that I wanted us to go away. He initially seemed on board, but then the Super Bowl came up. He's a huge football fan. He watches every game every year. For his birthday a couple years ago, I even surprised him with tickets to the Super Bowl in Miami. So when I mentioned my birthday plans, he immediately pivoted to, we have to watch the Super Bowl together. I don't hate football, but I absolutely have no interest in it. It's just not my thing. He knows this. I envisioned a completely different kind of birthday celebration, but he was so insistent, like I was trying to rob him of some fundamental right. Honestly, it felt like he cared more about the Super Bowl than my 40th birthday. I told him fine, we could watch the stupid game together, but inside I was absolutely crushed. I felt like my feelings, my desires were completely disregarded. This weekend, I was talking to my best friend, who is gay, about how upset I was. He totally got it. He reminded me that turning 40 is a big deal and that I deserve to celebrate it in a way that made me happy. He suggested a weekend ski trip, exactly the kind of thing I had originally wanted to do with my husband. So I told my bestie today to book it, just me and him. We're going to hit the slopes, get massages, and have a fantastic drama-free time. I'll be back on Tuesday. I texted my husband about it and he completely lost it. He's saying I'm selfish, that I ruined everything. He claims he had already made plans for us. Dinner with friends on Saturday and brunch with my parents on Sunday. He's acting like I'm the villain here. News to me. I reminded him that I told him weeks ago what I wanted to do for my birthday. But he was so focused on the Super Bowl that he completely dismissed my feelings. I told him I wasn't going to spend my 40th birthday doing something he wanted after he ignored what I wanted. I even texted my parents to let them know I was going away, and they were totally cool with it. They just said, have fun, we'll see you next week. Now, my husband was acting like I'm selfish, but I feel like I was backed into a corner. I tried to communicate what I wanted, and I was ignored. So, am I the asshole for taking matters into my own hands and celebrating my 40th birthday the way I want? Am I wrong for wanting to feel special and loved on my milestone birthday, even if it means missing a stupid football game?
There's a couple variables that I wish I knew. Oh, are we? Oh,
Well,
there's more.
So there's a couple updates,
Okay.
but I think we'll read the updates after.
Okay.
We'll say our opinions, maybe like go through a couple of the top comments or controversial comments like on the story, and then see what the update is.
So, a couple of variables I wish I knew. I wish I knew how long they've been together, because this is every year that this happens. Being that,
Super Bowl or her birthday? Yes.
her birthday falling on or near the Super Bowl, because
you can relate.
I can relate. Wink, wink. So she attends Super Bowl parties even though it's probably her birthday. Second thing, are they either in Missouri or are they in Pennsylvania? If this guy is not like an Eagles or Chiefs fan, like, and that's me just like trying to give him a little bit of like a minuscule grace. If he's not a fan of either of those teams, bugger off. And then thirdly, and I guess, I wanted to know how long they've been together so I could figure out.
Why does that matter?
Well, like, this is because for him, there's no excuse. This has been happening for probably, I'm going to guess 10 years, right?
Even if it's 5 years.
Well, yeah, fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just, it's not news.
Yeah.
And this is like a total communication breakdown in the sense that, like, if he wanted to do this, they should have solidified those plans and should have been like, this is what I want to do. Boom, 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 boom. And not be like, hey, surprise, I'm going to do a half-ass dinner. And then we're going to watch Super Bowl. Like, it's hard too in a way, because like, if it was like, say, the Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup that fell on a birthday, obviously it would mean something.
True.
But that never happens.
We need to worry about
but
that.
You know what I mean? If it did happen, it would be insane, and that fell on a birthday. Like, I could get that, but like the Super Bowl, unless there's like real variables, which I don't think there is, I can't get there with this guy and be like, oh, I can defend him.
Yeah.
But So I think he honestly, if she was like, I want to go out of state where there are no televisions, I want to go to like, I don't know, like in the middle of the jungle.
Exactly.
He would have had to deal with it, and it's her it doesn't matter if it's her 40th birthday, if it's her 38th, like
True.
it's
If she wanted it to be special, then that should be what.
yeah, it is like. I'm sorry, like her birthday comes every year, Super Bowl comes every year.
Yeah.
Which is more important? It's her birthday. Like it's a no brainer. Unless there's like real variables that I just even then I still can't really get there.
Okay, well it's funny because I really had to withhold myself from like looking at comments that were quote unquote what Reddit calls like controversial. So basically kind of going against what like giving a hot take. Saying,
yeah, I guess I'm on the fence, but I'm in my head I'm with her.
Yeah, so you think that he's the asshole?
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like she's not
she's in the like she's
but
in the right.
I will say like they could have communicated a little better beforehand and like been like let's lock this down. So there, I would say like there's like 5% blame.
But who's responsible though? Like why is she?
It's him.
Yeah, so she shouldn't be chased. She's already communicated that she wants something like special and intimate for her birthday, and he should take the onus like an adult. I'm guessing they're maybe in and around the same age. I don't know, maybe not,
But where I kind of come back around is that it's important to her. So you're right. All the things you said are right, but like her being like, I don't know what we're doing. It could have just been like, what are we doing? And then let him take like
the reins.
Reins out. Because the fact that I don't even know, like I'm strongmanning this in the sense that she was not like talking about it. They could have talked about it 3 times and it never like amounted to anything.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of vibe I got where it's just like, I don't know what he's doing. He knows, and it just felt like a lot of telephone in this. And that's the only way I can get well, that kind of perpetuated the issue. But when it comes down, I'm just trying to be a little bit like, it's not him 100%, it's him 95%. And there's this 5% that like, I don't know, as a 40 years old too, you should figure out how to talk to your significant other and be like, but like we had similar stuff at my birthday where you were very much like, hey, like what are we doing? And I'm like, nothing. Like you're kind of like trying to get something out of me. But like it wasn't. But you know what? Like if I was like a few days before and I'm like, I'm going to Mexico by myself, you would feel a certain way about it. But then I could be like, oh, well, it's my birthday. I can do what I want. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of one of those things that it could become something if something happens.
I guess so. But she tells him, he tells her after the fact, oh, well, I planned, if I'm remembering correctly, I know I just read it, that he told her that afterwards that he had made plans already to do dinner with friends and then brunch the next day.
Yeah.
So like afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and like I said, I had this original thought too, but there are a couple comments that say this, that like, well, wow, how like crazy creative you're like making dinner plans and brunch plans. Like it's not like that's like a normal Saturday night. Like that does not actually take a lot of like effort and thought. Plus if you're doing dinner out and then brunch at her parents, I think it was her parents' house.
Yeah.
Like that is also still like minimal effort because you're not even cooking, you're not hosting, you're like, so I think that's also like, he probably didn't even do that. He probably just like said it as like a catch-all.
Yeah, and you're right. It could have like just.
He could have just said it because that's such an easy thing to like action last minute to be like, I'd like quickly message a couple like friends and be like, hey, like dinner on Saturday, like
you need to help me.
Yeah. But anyways, for some of yes, I do not think she's the asshole. If anything, like he's kind of the.
Oh, he's
kind of a jerk. Okay, so like some of these comments are.
What's YTA mean? Oh,
you're the asshole. So some of these.
What's YTA mean? Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of the comments of saying that this poster is actually the asshole, saying there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't do it the weekend before or the weekend after. I think you are punishing him. I get that you want the focus to be on you for your birthday, but if you know that game is so important And to him, and there's absolutely no reason why it couldn't just be a few days earlier or later, the actual day itself is not really important. It's going somewhere together.
Well, this guy, I know what he looks like in my head.
Careful.
He has a very nice fedora, and he's very single. Ladies.
Who, this commenter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like...
Well, even the name is a little weird.
Oh, I'm just being mean. Okay. That's an opinion. I disagree with it fully, but no, I think if that's what you think, I'm not here to help you on Reddit, man. Like, if that's what you think, then fine. But I just sometimes I'm just like, I don't have the energy to try to correct this guy.
Yeah.
I just think
people are wild.
I think I will say that, like, sometimes situations occur where you do have to do it, and Super Bowl is not one of those situations. Like, if someone dies, if someone gets sick, like, yeah, a reschedule can occur.
Yeah.
But
that to me, that's like something above and beyond the normal situation.
I will say, if the husband did plans a week before the birthday and it was something special, I think she would have came around to that.
That's true, yeah.
If like, hey, it's fall in your Super Bowl, can we do something on the weekend before, the weekend after? Like, that could have been a question. But like, again, like, it kind of comes back that it's the Super Bowl. And I guess maybe because we're not American, we don't care as much, but that's why I was kind of saying, like, hey, the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's a good example.
Like, I get it, but, it's also the 40th, like, the Super Bowl happens every year. The 40th birthday, let me check. It happens once. So, yeah, I'm not. This guy, God bless you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's another one right underneath that just says, she's yes, okay, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't. So I know there's some funny other comments. But yeah, maybe we'll just go through some of the updates. So. Okay. Update number 1. My husband did plan the brunch with my parents and made a reservation 2 weeks ago at my favorite fancy place. Okay. He wanted it to be a surprise. The dinner he planned was also supposed to be a surprise at a friend's restaurant. Yeah. We talked, and his idea was to do all of this and then stay at home Sunday night, order in, veg out, and watch the Super Bowl together. But he didn't tell me any of this, and I'm a planner, so if I don't know what's happening, I take the reins. P.S. He's an Eagles fan, for those that are asking.
Well, oh man, I'm not sure if you guys know about the Philadelphia fans. They can be a little bit curmudgeon, and
I don't know anything about any football fans.
I think you should always go Google Super Bowl celebration and Philadelphia, and you'll learn everything you need to know about Philadelphia fans.
They kind of like take over the streets.
Yeah, and for all the Pennsylvania guys out there, I know, the million that we have. I'm not taking shots at you. I'm a Cowboys fan. That's why, I will take that shot. And there goes all our Eagles fans. But either way, I just think, like, I would honestly message one of those people and, like, was this planned did you hear about this 2 weeks ago? Like, is that, like, a little bit, like, I don't trust your...
Yeah, well, my thought is, like, you don't trust your partner in that way. Like, there's already, like, a couple, orange flags happening. Like, if you...
Beige?
No, beige is, like, to me, it's orange. To me, it's orange because you're not quite red.
Oh. I didn't know there's a new flag. Sorry.
I feel like there's a bunch of different flags. Okay. There's also like a checkered flag.
Okay, yeah.
White flag.
Yeah, checkered flag is like, let's race.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
Race, okay. Got it. Yeah. Branded, I don't know. Last lap, I have no idea. Anyways, yeah, and then so this poster also added that, by the way, celebrating my birthday on my actual birthday is a big deal to me, and he apologized for the lack of effort. And then it says, before you chastise me, I got Super Bowl tickets for his birthday in 2020, so fair is fair.
And I think that's when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, because they won one.
Oh.
So not only, I could be wrong on that, they were in the Super Bowl recently, and they won. And, if that is the truth, like, that, like, surpasses so many things to be able to see your team win the Super Bowl. It's just like...
Yeah, so he's already been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, and to your mention earlier about, well, if he maybe had a conversation with her about planning something, say the weekend before, her saying here celebrating my birthday on my actual birthday is a big deal to her. So like maybe they had that conversation and like it just wasn't gonna fly. But at the same time too, like Super Bowl Sundays starts at like 6:30 on Sunday. Like you have like all weekend. So like I don't know. I just think it's kind of a cop out, and I would not be very impressed. And the fact that once again this person is a planner, so I can highly relate to that. Like it might be pretty hard to like plan a surprise party for a planner because they probably are, if you're not doing something, they're just going to plan something anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's, I feel like a tricky like thing to balance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I just think, there's no winning this argument in my eyes. I think she's in the right, and it's just like, there might be posters that think that she's the asshole, but these are people that like need to take a step back and kind of try to look at things non-biased both ways. Obviously it's funny because the extra details, he's an Eagles fan. That was something I was curious about. Yeah. But he'd already, and she mentioned she already took him to Miami for Super Bowl. Like, what are we talking about here? It's the juice isn't worth the squeeze. He blew it, and he should have just like got through it and did what she wanted.
Mm-hmm. Well, the story does end happily because the final update is from OP saying officially going skiing and the husband is coming. He saw this post and we talked it out. We're going to watch the game from the bar at the resort. I get to spend my birthday carving clean lines on the fresh powder. I'm a huge skier, so it all worked out. So
yeah,
happy ending, which is great, but
took us a while to get there. And you know what? These are the adventures of why we get married. You know what I mean? But like this happens, and I'm glad that he kind of came to his senses because, a month later, the Eagles smashed and we're winning that game in the first 10 minutes. So like, what did we miss? Mm-hmm. The birthday, it wasn't even exciting. And you know what? Like, yeah, it wasn't a crazy game. And he should have known that going in anyways because it was the Chiefs and they suck. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess we're at my point here. I had a very important question myself. We're talking about 40. We're talking about that. So the most important question on my mind is, what's your favorite potato chip? Yeah, because you know what? I was talking about this with my niece. And I was like, look, what's your favorite potato chip? And she's like, look at Uncle Eric, dill pickle. And I was like, hey man, dill pickle. And I had to ask her, I'm like, is it Humpty Dumpty? Is it? And she's like, no man, Lay's. And I was like, well, that's a younger crew. They weren't around when Old Dutch was around, or when Ruffles was around. They want the Lay's dill pickle, and I have to agree with her.
Yeah,
I am a dill pickle Ruffles person.
Like they have dill pickle Ruffles?
They do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I've never tried that before.
I don't want you missing out.
I am. I would say that it depends on my mood, but I feel like my classic potato chip is just like plain Ruffles. Thanks, Mom.
I will also say, I want to bring this up. This was a trap question. Can you imagine?
I know where this is.
And you share your chips. She puts them in the thing and then you eat the chips. So, but she gets mad at you eating the chips that she won't ever touch again. So what does she do? She buys the chip flavor that you would never eat.
You hate the most.
Salt and vinegar chips. It doesn't matter who makes it.
Ruffles are the best.
It's an awful chip flavor, and so what she does now is she buys these salt and vinegar ones. I don't touch them. I'm not even mad that they're in the house. It's like I'm on a Ouija board in my cabinets. And she'll have them in there, and I'm just like, when you buy chips, you share it with people, right? Like, I get it that, like, maybe you're a little bit annoyed that I've eaten your chips, but, like, I can't even eat these, and they're awful. And she's like, well, too bad. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's it.
It's my chip sorcery. It like keeps you away from.
It's like a garlic onion. The garlic flavored chips. Yeah.
What is your favorite?
I like dill pickle a lot. I will say, thought about it, but the thing about chips too is I have to think like after I've eaten, because I'm a big chip fiend, and it's funny because I actually don't eat a lot of chips anymore, just because like you'll see the chips if you eat it like a month straight, you'll see it on your body. Um, I will say, so I think in my head like, what's a chip I can keep eating, and dill pickle's harder because it kind of gets like a bit like rough on your tongue.
Yeah.
And that's the same issue, but my second favorite is like all dressed chips. And that kind of has a quicker like tongue activation than dill pickle. But I love both of those chips. I do think honestly you're right, regular, but the best thing about regular Ruffles too is you can dip it in anything. Like,
that's true.
Absolutely anything.
A little more versatile.
You give me ice cream, I'll dip that Ruffles chip into that. You know what I mean? Like it is the most dippable chip. Put your hand up on your hip. Yeah, so like I love that. Thanks for also letting me ask this question. It was a very important question for me.
It was a very important, and then you also were able to voice your reservation to sing.
Like literally 20 minutes ago, you're talking about how I never make you lift a finger in your butt. You're like, I'm gonna make sure you never have chips.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm also now gonna call you out because you do something very similar with food.
Oh. Okay. I know where you're going with this. Go on.
So we eat a lot of protein bars in this house, and when you order this package, they come in like
Costco package.
Okay, is it Costco? So
it's like peanut butter and a chocolate chip.
Yeah, is it peanut or just chocolate? Isn't it double chocolate and then the other one's chocolate chip?
Chocolate peanut butter.
Okay. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So there's two different flavors, but there's more of the peanut butter one versus the chocolate chip one. And the chocolate chip one is like the fan favorite.
For you.
For me, I guess. Yeah. Yes. Okay. It is. I don't. The other one's fine, but
when you say fan favorite, you only eat the chocolate peanut butter.
No, I only eat the chocolate chip.
Sorry, the chocolate chip peanut butter one. You do not touch the double chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little different, but
anyways, yeah. And so what Eric does is he'll hide.
Once I hit it once.
Now you've done it twice. He will literally hide one of the box of the chocolate chip ones because he knows I will just eat through those first. And then worst case, if there's the other one left over, then I will maybe eat them. And then yes, he'll have to like reorder. So then like this other flavor just like piles up. So he'll hide this box of chocolate chip ones. So don't pretend you don't have your own protein sorcery hidden.
Correct. I can see that there's similarities, but there is a big difference. Is that you have purposely bought a product I will never touch. I bought a product that you'll half touch. And the issue is that these one's a bag of chips that cost $3, and then the other one's a Costco thing of like $3 because they're Costco. Yeah. Anything you walk in there, it costs you $30. Yeah. And I'll have like 3 boxes of double chocolate. I'm like, where's the chocolate chip peanut butter? Well, they're all eaten. And then I'm just box of double chocolate. So this was a thing that has happened recently. After years and years of buying these Costco things, I was like, look, I hit it a little bit. But then I brought it back out because, I didn't think that you noticed that I was embarrassed. So I will stop doing that. But, I just wish that you could have as many of those chocolate peanut butter ones as you want. But when you have 2 of them, you have to have 1 double chocolate just so we
the ratio.
Yeah, just help my ratio because I don't want
to I can agree to that.
Yeah. And like, hey, there's a compromise. Is she going to stop buying salt and vinegar chips? No. There was no compromise there. There's nothing.
So do you want me to buy you all dressed then too?
To be honest,
I'll offset it. If I buy salt and vinegar, I have to buy a bag of
dressed. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But like at the same time, I'm not eating a lot of chips.
No, you're not.
So yeah, I know. It sounds like
but now that we're talking about it a lot, I really want salt and vinegar.
I don't want any chips. Not at all. Yeah.
All right. Well, was there anything else that?
Yeah, so, this is our second episode. We are so thankful for people that have already tuned in after one episode. I know the first one's more of like, hey, who are we? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that have tuned in probably already know that. So, we really appreciate you guys sticking with us. So any feedback is fully appreciated, and we'll keep pumping these out as much as we can.
I think once like on a weekend.
Yeah.
Once a week.
Yeah.
And on a weekend, Saturday or Sunday. It seems like Sunday has been the day.
Yeah. the day. And so thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
And next week we don't have that in front of us, but believe you me, we have enough topics to yak about, and I'm sure we can. If you enjoyed this today, there's more coming. So
yeah. Well, did we want to wrap it up? Remember, we had discussed wrapping each episode up.
With something we're thankful
for. So I can go first because I have already sort of thought about it. I would say that, and I know I sort of alluded to this earlier in the episode, but just that I am thankful for the delicious food that you have bought on Skip Dishes.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with poke bowls, the salmon, and it is just, I don't know how healthy it is. I feel like it's pretty healthy. It's like rice and, a bunch of like veggies on top, some fresh salmon. So yeah, it definitely it puts a nice little bow on the end of like a Friday work day to kind of cap off the work week. So thank you for that.
I want to thank you for inviting me on a lot of these walks. She loves walking every day, and it's mostly like a thing where she'll listen to her podcast or take the dogs out. And I was like, hey, I'd like to go for a walk. And she's invited me on some walks. I know it's silly that might sound, but like getting out there and getting my steps in, getting my neighborhood looking in.
Neighborhood watch.
Yeah, my neighborhood watch. Getting, so I appreciate
bonding with the dog.
Yeah, bonding with everything, and it's always fun to spend time with you. So I appreciate it when you invite me in for the little things. So, I will invite you next time to go shopping for Pyrex for my sister, because I know how everyone loves to go shopping.
I'm particular about that. I'm probably good.
Who knows? We'll talk about shopping next week, maybe.
All right. Well, have a great week.
And you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.